If you've ever been harassed by a debt collector, then you're going to want to watch this video because I have Tamari's story here. We're going to be watching this video I found on TikTok that's talking about not to pay debt collectors. And then Tamari's story is going to give us his opinion on is he full of it or is there some truth to what he's saying? Tamari, welcome back.
Hey, Omar, thank you so much. I appreciate, I get pumped up for our podcast, and thank you so much for having me on another episode. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you back for taking the time. Hey, this is an early one, folks. We woke up extra early to make this one happen, but we are here. So let's play this video that on TikTok. So here we go.
When you don't pay the debt collectors, which, by the way, to the audience, you should never pay a debt collector because the debt doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the debt collector. Let me explain this to you. If I owe Amex $1,000 and I say I refuse to pay you, right? And they sell my debt to ABC Debt Collections Company, LLC. The debt doesn't belong to James Chang anymore. The debt belongs to ABC Debt Collectors. Why should I pay a debt that doesn't even belong to me anymore? Most people get scared because debt collectors, if you don't pay, we're going to garnish your way. They get scared. No, it's against the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. You don't have to pay debt collectors.
Oh, wow.
Boom. He dropped the bomb.
I know when I'm doing research for our video series, that is like a very common search result is like, can I not pay my debt collector if I don't have to? So I think people are searching for that confirmation. Like, is there a way? Is there this secret sauce that I'm missing here? And that's what we're trying to figure out. And Tamari's story, who does this for a living, has a credit pulse, a credit repair business, is going to talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yes, and so that was a really good. Like I said, boom! He dropped a bomb because when people hear that, they're like, "What? What do you mean I don't have to pay?" And so with my clients, they ask me all the time, "Do I have to pay my collections?" And so I've always told my clients that I can't tell you to pay or not to pay. The only reason why I say that is because I know both sides of the equation. I know from the debt, like the collection side of it, right? When they buy that debt, let's just be honest. This buying debt from Amex or Capital One or from Barclays, it's a big business. They buy and sell debt all the time. A big money game, right? Mm-hmm. So I know both sides of the equation. So on the collecting side, I know he mentioned the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which is the act of actually collecting the debt, right? And so what he's saying is when they call and they harass you or when they buy that debt, you don't owe them because in that act, it's all about the wet contract. Do they have that? There's like 19 pieces of information that you have to provide to actually legally collect the debt. And some of those are, the contract. Some of those are, making sure, they have your driver's license, your picture, your driver's license, your social, because what happens when you sign a contract, they ask you for that. So let's talk about that for a second. You mean to tell me this company you sold this debt to has all my information, like my social, my name, my driver's license, my date of birth, all this information that I did not give them the authority to have?
Yeah.
And now they're calling me and harassing me, and they're calling me. And so when they're calling, you can legally say, I don't owe you a dime. Like I tell my clients, you could say that because legally you don't owe them anything. And only reason why I know that is because attorneys have told me that. Consumer law attorneys have said, hey, if they call your clients, you can give your clients this little short script. Refrain from ever calling me again. I don't owe you anything. You can just literally keep it you can even keep it more simple. I don't owe you anything. Don't call me ever again. Now, if they call one more time after that and you can document that, then there's possible lawsuit right there where you can actually go, and if you can prove that, you can actually contact this consumer law attorney, and then they can a lot of times they take it where they'll get paid on the back end. So It's not like you have to pay all these legal fees and things of that nature. So there's that side of it where I won't tell them not to pay, but that's an interaction right there of saying you don't owe them anything, right? And so that's when it comes to collections. Okay.
So let me pause you really quick. So say you tell them that, but these people probably are pretty scummy and they don't care, and they're betting on that you don't know what you're doing and you're just not knowledgeable, and they continue to call. Do you guys ever step in, or do you just instruct your clients on what to say further, or what steps to take after that? How's that work?
That's a great question, Omar. So when it comes to stepping in, when it comes to things like this, we don't actually do this for the clients. We give the clients information based off of what the attorneys have advised us, because we're not attorneys, right? So we don't
Practice
we
law.
have to walk a fine line, because the last thing we want to give our clients information that's gonna is not gonna help them, right? But when it comes to collections and legally practicing collection practices, we can give our clients that information, because it's a consumer law and the clients benefit. It's for the consumer, right? And so the more information that we can give our clients, like telling them that that they don't owe them. One other things that consumer law attorneys have told us is have them keep a log on the number that they're calling from, the company, and telling them to tell the collection agencies to, first of all, before they even, if they don't want to say they don't owe them, they can ask them to show them how they're legally able to even practice in that state, their information, their license number, the whole nine, right? So that's more information for our clients, where they're feel so much more empowered, because now they can go and they don't feel like they're hopeless, or they don't feel like they can just get harassed, or they can get threatened, because again, that's against the law as well. And so these companies and these collection agencies continue to break the law. And if you don't know that there is even a law in place to protect you, then think about the stress that goes on in these people's lives. Think about when they're trying to feed their families, and they got these companies talking about how they can possibly, almost acting like they're the police. We're going to come and we're going to serve you. And in some states, they can have a sheriff serve you. So it's like you feel like you're going to jail, you're about to do time, all this stuff, when it's a consumer issue.
So let me think here now. I'm still processing what you kind of said there. So at the end of the day, I guess the best way to do is just to document everything. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. That's what I just thought of. So is it possible, like you said, to document stuff, but put them on speakerphone and then have your friend's phone record the conversation? Can you do stuff like that or no?
Omar, you got all the great questions, man. So there's actually an app, a recording app that you can have on your phone, which will make it easier than that. Because to answer your question, you can do that, especially if you can show the number that's calling. So an app, they have recording apps that you can download on your phone. You can do it exactly like what you just said, because the number will be there and it's real time. And then, knowing the company name and the number, because you can always go back. Attorneys are really good at this. They can go back and literally, pull your phone records, because your phone records and the amount of time that you were on the line, that's another way that you can find out. But the piece of telling them to contact you again, or the piece to initially say, hey, first of all, send me in the mail your information, and don't ever call me again, right? So now you put the onus on them to do some action steps. Send it in mail, showing me you can even legally collect, and your license number and all of that, and then for them not to contact you through phone. So those two pieces right there, you put it on them. So if they fail that, it's a clear infraction, and that's where you can get a consumer law attorney to come in and go to bat for you.
I also feel if you do your own due diligence and document everything, and then when you approach an attorney and you have all this information like evidence, it's going to increase your chances of them wanting to hire you, work with you, rather than you just going in with nothing and they're like, oh, there's a lot of work we have to do before we even get to that point.
100% correct. Anytime I've talked to an attorney, if you have all your ducks in a row, all your documentation and everything, oh, wow. It makes it so much easier for them to do their job, especially when it comes to, them, anytime you can kind of do their work and keep it nice and organized, they'll know how to take that information. And I found in the process that it speeds it up in terms for the client, because they're not having to, tell them to do all the things that they need to do over and over again or more than once. It's almost like you come with a, kind of like a package already laid out for your case. And then you have an attorney that can go to bat for you from there. So then it's just like you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the attorney, which always makes it a lot easier to streamline everything. So things tend to go a lot quicker that way in terms of like any type of legal lawsuit or anything that needs to go from there.
Yeah, so you have to help yourself by first, when you do your research and you come across this video, now you have some steps on what to do. So in the event you still keep getting harassed, okay, now you have a little bit of ammunition and how to collect that so you can increase your chances of winning.
Absolutely.
So offline, Tamari and I were talking about this video, and we talked about two things. And we talked about the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act, but what about the Fair Debt Reporting Act? Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so the Fair Debt Reporting Act is essentially what's reporting on your credit report. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is how they're collecting the debt. So with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, when you actually see the collection report to your credit, that's where, okay, now a credit repair company or the consumer can see, hey, wait a minute, this collection just popped up on my credit. And anytime it pops up, we hear that all the time. We use the pops up, right? Mm-hmm. And when it comes to pops up on your credit, it could be at the worst time possible. It could be like you're trying to buy a house. Mm-hmm. You're trying to refinance your car, and then all of a sudden your score drops 50 points, 40 points, very significant. Anytime anything new that's a negative item like a collection shows up on your credit, very detrimental to your score and the health of your credit. It's the pulse of your credit, just kind of like, you can definitely see those lines going a lot more like closer to like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And so that's where we come into play. And so when it comes to reading that collection, that's the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the fact that you have a collection company reporting. And so that's where the dispute process comes into play. And that's how you're, either the consumer or a credit repair company or an attorney, that's where you can dispute those collections per the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Okay, so there's two big things to note, folks. The Fair Debt Collections Practices Act, if you want to do some further research, or the Fair Debt Reporting Act. Because I know there's a lot of do-it-yourself out there, but there are legit credit repair companies too, like Credit Pulse, that understand the nuances and have, been through it, and this is part of their business model. So but the biggest thing is just building trust, and that's what we're doing here by building trust with our community here, so we can just give you some good education and knowledge, so we can get through this together.
100%. We don't want your pulse your credit pulse to go straight. We don't want that straight. We want that healthy up and down. We want that healthy side of the pulse, not the part where you're like stressing and you have these people that are harassing you out there. So
there
if
you
you guys
go.
need help, we can help you.
Now you know exactly what the logo's for. And I see the pulse now, right? Boop, boop. Okay. Exactly. So let's dive in a little bit to some of these comments that from the original video. 'Cause let's see what we can answer here. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can see. Let me see here now. Okay. Now let me move us out the way. Can you see that all right, Tamari?
Yes, sir. I can see it.
All right. So I'm just going to scroll a little bit and you just shout one out. Or I'll read them out loud. So the first one is like, and then we can stop me when you find someone that you'd like to talk about. So the first one is, as a former debt collector, dark time in my life. This is not true.
Well, so I mean, like when you're a debt, collector. I mean, you have a perspective, and I notice this person mentions a dark time in their life, and so I don't really know what they mean, how they're referencing both, and say this is not true, because it's almost like, if you're kind of biased on one side, it's like I don't, you know what I mean. But to just say that none of the things that this gentleman said in this video is all untrue, I don't believe that. In my experience, I feel like 90% of what he said or more is true. And so, because of the law, because when you're talking about the law, it's like taxes. It's like saying taxes isn't true. You don't have to pay taxes. If someone told you that, you can say, well, I can research and find out, I actually do have to pay taxes. Or you can say, this law isn't true, but that's the beautiful thing. With the internet nowadays, you can research and do your due diligence. So you can, and then you can make an educated decision as for yourself or your family, whether it's true or not.
And I feel like you could, because we have so much information available to us, it's very easy for us to get into that confirmation bias where we're searching for information just to confirm our own internal beliefs and opinions on things. That's why I think this one, which is saying he's a debt collector and it's not true, and had 14,000 people like it, because that's what people want. They want to not pay the debt collectors, and it sounds good, but you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't do it the right way and go about the right way. Because again, when it comes to these things and your credit score and your credit repair, and ultimately we're doing this because we want you to be in a good position to attain home ownership. You don't want to get in any type of trouble or dig yourself into a deeper hole by not paying your debt collector. So the big thing here is knowing which information to trust, right? And to me, I'm always going to trust a person, and I'm going to trust the person that's doing video to see, like, okay, let me watch a little bit to see what you're about. More than just reading something online. That's just me.
Right. Exactly. And I like the this next one right here. It says all credit, no karma. And I think this person I like how she puts it. She says debt collectors can in fact collect. However, the FDCPA gives guidance to how they can. Right. And so she's literally breaking it down legally, what the gentleman said above. And then she goes on and says most violate this, which that's what we're talking about. Right. Mm-hmm. And the key to the FCRA is and them reporting inaccurately. So essentially she's confirming what we're talking about, saying, yes, can collection agencies collect? Yes, they can, but they have to do it legally by the law and by proper legal practices, right? And so I love that comment, because right after, like the gentleman says, as a former debt collector, he's like kind of showing like his legitimacy, authority or his knowledge, right? But then she literally backs it up by legal knowledge and legal advice on, not advice, but legal is saying, hey, look up these laws and, do your own research, because if it's inaccurate, then now you can leverage that law for your benefit versus just not doing anything, which most people, if they don't know the law, what are they going to do? Or what can they do? That's a great question. And when you start thinking about what you can do, it's like, okay, I want to feel the empowerment of knowing that I got at least a chance to better myself because of the law, especially when it's called a consumer law. Hello.
Meant
You
to
know?
protect you, the consumer.
Exactly.
Yeah. And look at, and the one below it says, and that's how I ended up in jail for believing these people.
Right, right. And I'm wondering what that means because you know, that's kind of like so like I don't know what she means by that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of room for interpretation there, but that's the beauty of going to the comment section, because you never know what you're going to get, and it's digging through these things to find these little golden nuggets of information that we can speak on. All
Right.
right, let's see here now.
Oh, there's one that says I didn't pay. They still calling me, still not paying. LOL. So that's interesting because like the still calling part. Because imagine if Anthony said, "Hey, refrain from calling me or don't call me anymore. I don't owe you that debt." You know, they see the thing that people don't talk about is that these collection companies, they know the law better than anybody because they're being instructed to where if anyone says don't call them anymore, guess what? They're going to stop calling you because if not, they know they're going to potentially get sued by the person that they're calling, right? So the person that says I didn't pay, they're still calling, still not paying. Well, I mean, imagine if Anthony knew about the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, where, you know, and maybe if he says, just literally tells him to stop calling him, I wonder what would have happened then.
Okay, could you say something like, "Stop calling me. I'm recording this conversation for future litigation," something to that effect?
You can say all of that, you know,
Yeah.
and when I've talked to consumer law attorneys, they instruct, you know, and their advice is less is more. You know what I mean?
Of what you're
You know,
saying?
yeah, of what you're saying. So they would rather you say something along the, or at least what they've told me is they'd rather the client say something along the lines of, "Don't call me anymore. I don't owe you anything," and keep it
Keep it
short and
simple.
vague like that
Yeah.
and simple, because at the end of the day, if you give them too much information, like I'm recording this and doing all this and that, I mean, you can do that, and they probably get the picture loud and clear. But from an attorney's mind, my interpretation of being less is more is because they want them to keep calling. So there is a case. You know what I mean? So,
Ah, I
because
see.
after you tell them not to, you know, and after you
Yeah.
can record it or after you can prove it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
It all depends on who you talk to. So that's what the attorneys have said. Like, be less is more when you're. But I, if the person is not looking to like take it a step further, yeah, tell them, "Hey, I'm recording this. Don't, if you call me again, I'm going to seek legal advice." You know, you can give them that, and they're making it loud and clear. You know, and so it's really, it comes down to the consumer and what route they want to take moving forward. They just, you know, and then they can make a decision.
So keep it simple and document, document, document.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's read a few more here because we're doing 23 minutes on time, and I want to keep it at 30. Let's see. This one said,
Okay. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say the one that said that got sued before thinking that. I got sued before thinking that.
Oh, yes.
Outside shy.
Yeah, that's a good one because like the getting sued part is the reason why that I don't ever give, you know, I don't say either pay it or not pay it because like you have a moral side to it and then you have a legal side. We're talking a lot about legal. We've dove in really on the legal side, the legality side, and then on the don't pay them. If I said to anybody, "Don't pay a debt," or "Don't pay your bills," or "Don't pay anything," I would never do that. I tell my clients all the time, I don't want to. I don't want to do that because if you get sued, then you can say, "Hey, tomorrow you told me not to pay, and then now I got sued." You know what I mean? And so because I know both sides of it, right?
Yeah.
And so, or I don't want to tell them to pay because then if all the legal stuff that we're going over right now, and then what if I tell them to pay and then they look up and say, "Tamari, why would I pay if legally you're telling me I just saw your video with Omar and you're telling me all this positive stuff not to, and you're telling me not to." what's going on? So that's more of a moral decision, not only on the debt itself, but like taking a step back and saying, okay, legally, what do I have here? Are they breaking the law? Right? So if they are, because we're really talking about essentially the phone calls and what's reporting on the credit, or the letters, or what's reporting on the credit. And we're talking about harassing, and we're unpacking a lot that these consumers are going through, and that are a reality for all these people in the comments, for all the people out there. So it's really the knowledge. And so the getting sued part, a lot of people freak out about that. And I totally understand why. But that's why we can't give that advice on one way or the other because of that. And I don't want to ever put my clients in a situation where they come to me for help, and I'm not able to give them all the information. So not only can I help them, but they can help themselves as well. Because like Omar, like we talk about all the time, this is a team effort. This isn't, I know a lot of people say, hey, Tamari, put your cape back on. I need help again, because I might have helped them before. And but it's more of it's a team effort on everybody participating. And so there's some homework that clients need to do in terms of researching the law, and then looking at their situation and knowing what firepower that they have so they can fight back instead of just get harassed and get their wages garnished and things like that, which can be very stressful situations to be in.
I love what you said there. When you said you get a call from a client, be like, hey, Tamari, put your cape back on, I need your help again. Because that made me think of like, how nice is that to have someone that you can call to help you when it comes to these kinds of things, rather than going online and trying to figure it out yourself,
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, my whole goal in getting into credit repair wasn't so the clients can just keep calling me, so they're like habitual clients. Like, that's never been my goal. It does feel good when we're all human, we make mistakes, and situations where you don't even make mistakes. You're a victim of identity theft, or you're a victim of having being a junior or a senior and having a mixed file. So there's all kinds of reasons why people call, but just knowing that that when they think of somebody that's helped them in the past, that let me call Credit Pulse because they helped me before. That's the best feeling ever. And then me putting Credit Pulse together, I was like, if I give them as much information as possible, they're not going to need to really call me all the time, because once you fix your credit and you know how, then you're empowered to where if I've done my job, you don't need me anymore. And when I played baseball, that's what my coaches would always tell me, and I've used that to this day. My goal is that the clients don't need me anymore. They don't need me. And if you don't need me, that's because I've given you all the information that you need to be successful. I've equipped you with resources and people that you can go to, like almost like a family kind of atmosphere, like yourself, Omar, like you're the realtors, the loan officers, the credit, how we all work together. So if we've done our job, then you're not going to need us very often. And if you do need us, call us. Always call us. But the best thank you is like, wow, I was able to get the house. I was able to get the credit card I wanted. I was able to get the car that I refinanced. So now I'm putting money back in my family, so I can pay for my son's college tuition, and put it towards that fund. Things like that. That's the best part about this, because it's like, when you don't need us as much anymore, and then when you do need us, we're the first person on your mind. That's the best thank you that you can get in this industry.
Absolutely. The referrals, right? Because that's how you you did a good job, because someone else referred you because they saw the value that you provided.
100%.
And yes. I like the way you put that. Is like, ultimately, we don't want you guys to call us back, in a sense, because that means you're going to need help in some way, shape, or form with credit repair, right? And if you haven't called us back, that means you're doing well, which is a good thing, right? That's good, because now you're on the right path. But now you're equipped with knowledge because you've been through the process, and now you can help somebody else out, right?
Yes.
And if anything from all of our videos, if there's a common theme, is that we're doing this so you can empower yourself, first of all, with this knowledge, help yourself first, and then once you're good, help others, right?
Yes.
Because Tamari and I, we've been there. We're that's why we're helping others, because we have crawled through all this dirt to figure out, to get in our current positions, and now we're trying to help other people out.
That's right. Hey, each one teach one mentality, you know?
Yeah. I think it was Kevin Spacey that said this, is that when you take the elevator to success to the top floor, it's your responsibility to bring it back down for the next person.
Yes.
Something like that, and that always stuck with me, because again, how do we change the world? By first changing ourselves.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then once you're good, then you can help others, right? But you have to really take care of yourself first.
There's no other way to do it. You nailed it. You got to help yourself first so you can help others. 100%.
Okay, I think that's a great way to end this video. We're at 30 minutes here now. That's Tamari's story, ladies and gentlemen. To contact him, he has his form, his contact information. I'll link in the description. So don't wait till the last minute. I know it's a scary thing. I know building trust and having and hiring someone with integrity is really what's super important for folks. And we understand that, and that's why we're doing all this video, so we can show up in front of you. You can see what we're about, like we're actual people. I'm a real estate agent in Austin, Texas. Tamari Story, he's kind of like everywhere, it seems like, but he will help. We're here to help.
Absolutely. And again, Omar, thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of your team, your podcast, all the cool things that you're doing with these developments. I'm watching your videos, man. I just want to keep putting this content out because I love watching it. And I know, like I said, I've had clients that have come to me and say, thank you for what you and Omar are doing. So I just want to say I truly appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamari. I appreciate you.